Telling Stories by Tim Burgess. Read by Parkinson. 1. The Best Band in the World. When I was asked to write this book, I quickly saw the true potential and scale of the opportunity I'd been given, though it took me a couple of years to ease myself into the driving seat. Like anyone else, my story's been a succession of days that roll into each other, sometimes with direction, sometimes without, though I've probably had even less of a plan than most. When I was little, I used to get told off for pushing things too far. Things that seemed to bother other people came quite naturally to me, like testing whether the goldfish bowl could balance on the edge of the kitchen table. It didn't. Or whether I could pedal downhill with no hands and 2 flat tyres. I couldn't. Injuries were painful and trips to the hospital frequent. Yes, there was blood, but there was also an excitement that came shortly before the disaster. I got a taste for this kind of thing. Not exactly danger for the sake of thrill-seeking, more just curiosity. I don't think like a book, in chronological thoughts. It's more a question of ideas invading my head than inviting others in. I suppose I think more like a magazine or a website, in short bursts with pictures, charts and lists. Perhaps it's a mistake to announce this fact at such an early stage. I'm hoping for your sake that everything comes together in a book-like way. Did they let me do any more after this confession? Are there any more pages? They did? Cool. Let's get started then. Occasionally in your life, it seems like outside influences are sent as some kind of guide. You know the kind of thing. Some badly behaved kid gets his comeuppance, and you take it as a signal to slow down in your own delinquent ways. At 15, I needed a guide and a path to follow. Something or someone to show me what was possible, but with enough interest to engage my erratic temperament. A trait pointed out by Miss Gilchrist on my school report. I was already of the mind that school wasn't the place where I'd learn the best things to lead me through life. But in fact, it was a school trip that first introduced me to the ramshackle parallel worlds of factory records and the hacienda. They were to be my early guides. For the life of me, I can't now imagine for what reason a bunch of school children were being led around what would become the epicentre of a musical revolution. It was sometime in 1982, and a forward-thinking teacher in the staff room of Leftwich High School had seen fit, and had it cleared, to take Class 5C to an as-yet unopened nightclub that would, over the next decade, instruct the world in a new way of doing things. When the hacienda opened, it showed no signs of being the cultural landmark it would grow into over the next few years. The likes of Graham Park and Dave Haslam would usher in the house revolution in 1987 to 1988, and with it came a drug called ecstasy, and the unifying of a generation that a couple of years earlier had been knocking each other around on the terraces of Old Trafford and Main Road. But the opening night saw local racist Burnham Manning on the bill, alongside South Bronx, post-punk girl funksters, ESG. So why were we there? I really can't be sure, but I like to think that I was being shown the light. Not that my memories are entirely good. A girl threw up in the doorway. Let's call that something sent from the future, to show me the flavour of things to come. A flavour I couldn't quite put my finger on, but one I knew I wasn't fond of. Anyway, just as some kids would have found their scientific future on our trips to the Jodrell Bank Radio Telescope, or their condiment calling at the Salt Museum in Northwich. Thank God I didn't see the light there. Everything about the hacienda and, in turn, factory records captivated me. Little we were shown through school had stirred much emotion in me, but Ben Kelly's futuristic design mothership and Tony Wilson's execution of his take on situationism left me open-mouthed, searching for more. I'd noticed catalogue numbers on the records I owned, but they seemed to represent little more than an antiquated storage system. Factory made them into an art form. In 1982, everything was different. Everyone was suited up and drinking away their wages in neon and pastel funk dens like Pips and Rotters. This was before any kind of nod towards metrosexuality. City centre nightclubs were little more than weekend...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?